Good morning, Anson.
Hello.
How are you? How are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing well.
All right. Welcome, 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 beloved. How's your week been so far?
Pretty good actually. Went to see 3 houses and had a better idea of what I want of a house. Today, I had my whole afternoon free because I thought we were gonna look for more houses, and the realtor gave me a call and he was like, "It looks like we have to rearrange at a different day." And I told him, "Oh, it's not a problem. Yeah, okay." So then I can just like stay at home and do my chores. So I told mom that, and mom was telling me that because I've already taken a look at 3 houses, the universe is then much clearer of what I want, because as I was walking around with each houses, I told the realtor and myself, like, "Oh, I like this and I like that. I don't like that, but I want this and that instead," and whatever it is. So almost like the universe then knows what your exact requirements are, so they're taking a step back, redesigning the thing, and then will give me the result after.
Boy, easy how that works, huh?
Yeah.
And you notice you follow the 5 steps. Ask, and then you got into, well, ask, God's job. You believe, you got to receive mode. Good morning, Melissa. How are you?
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
Good, good.
We've been blessing your event this morning.
You have a blessing?
For you, yes.
How you know? How you know? That's what's in my mind.
That's what it is. What's your testimony?
My testimony? My testimony is a lot. A lot. Every day is a testimony.
Good morning. How are you? Melissa, how's your healing coming?
It's better. It's better.
Good. We're praying for that healing and your event. Good morning. How are you?
How come I don't see you? How come?
You should see who.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Hi.
Good morning, everybody. We have an honored guest. We have Reverend Welch, who's a very dear friend of mine who's visiting here with us. I'm going to turn over so he can say hi to you guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Halsey.
Hi.
Is that Halsey?
Yeah, that's Halsey.
Oh, hi, Pastor. How are you?
All right.
Amen.
I haven't forgot you either.
What a blessing, right?
Oh, okay. Good, good.
Good morning, Lily. How are you?
Hi. Great. Thank you.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, in spirit, may your nature become known among men and your rule established on earth according to the heavenly plane. May your design be completed. Give us substance we need and overlook our transgressions as we overlook others. They transgression against us. Do not test us too severely and strengthen us against the servants of evil. We thank you for those who are here that gathered. We thank you for traveling grace for those who are on their way. We pray your hedge of protection around us, and we ask that you open up our minds, our hearts, and our spirits to receive infinite divine love, wisdom. As we go forth, we share that with infinite confidence. And we thank you for those who are in attendance, and we bless them with so much love and so much life. This is our prayer. We offer up in Yeshua's name. We say, amen, amen, and amen.
Amen.
All right. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. Stanley and Selena is here.
All right. Good to see them. Any testimonies, any by the ways, any questions you might have, anything whatsoever. Anything. Any by the ways. Nope.
Nope.
All right, then we'll get into it. We're on page 184 of Master of Christ Consciousness. And we're continuing on with our lesson. Does everybody have that?
Yes.
All right. So we're dealing with how separation is born. And anybody got an idea of when we say separation? There are stories in the beginning between Adam and Eve, people, and they hid themselves from the Creator. And the Creator asked the question, Adam, where are you? In other words, he tried to separate himself from the Creator. A lot of people try to separate themselves from the Creator. What ways have you seen people or yourself separate? Anyone?
Well,
All the time.
yeah, all the time you see people pass away,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are people that move away,
Mm-hmm.
and then I guess nowadays it's very easy because of jobs and then migration, so you'll be separated somehow.
With that separation, is it always happy or is it always with grief?
No, sometimes for happiness. Like, you know, for us, when the kids go out, oh, bye.
When the kids leave and you go away, you're happy, right? That's a good separation.
For themselves, right? For their future, and I guess for our freedom in a way.
And that's good because you know how many parents don't want to do that because they want to hold on to their children and live vicariously through their children's lives? Control.
I think in the modern days, most of us have to accept.
Don't go too far. I just need to see you enough to control you. Don't go too far over there.
No, I don't even want to see. I don't want to see.
So I think this separation is that Pastor is talking about is separation between us and God, right?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And a lot of that, and we're going to get more into the lesson of it, but we have to explain how the soul, well, we showed you how the soul was birthed, and now we'll show you how separation is born on where fear comes in.
Yes.
God did not give you fear, but he gave you the spirit of what? Sound mind, power, and love. Love, power, sound mind, however you want to organize it. So this is who your natural state of being is. So when there is separation, you've drawn the line and judged another against yourself. So,
But would it be the same when, like, for God, seeing us going away, but when we are serving our purpose, I think God will feel, what do you call, very consoled and more love for us, I guess.
I like that. Let me give you another analogy, or better yet, a question. What can separate each of you from the love of God? What can separate you from the love of God?
Okay. Like you said, fear,
Mm-hmm.
feeling of that we have done something wrong.
Right.
That our ego, we want to defend ourselves because we
Oh, say that word again, that ego. Oh, that ego.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that ego is the number one battle that we have in our mind of separation. Who creates separation?
Ourselves.
Absolutely.
It says that God never leaves us.
There you go.
We left him.
And that right there is, in reality, is an illusion. It would be like saying you're trying to separate your living body from air.
Pastor, I want to say something. That yes. Okay, we understand that God gives birth to our soul. Okay, they give us soul. And God also tells us to live. Okay, so at that point we were reluctant to leave because we were afraid.
Right.
We were going to another place. We were afraid. So when we were told to leave, but God actually so-called persuade us to go.
Absolutely.
Persuaded us to go, and then we left. Eventually we left, but we still remember our home.
Right.
Okay, so you see, and then when we are in a different place, you know, we were afraid that we will do something wrong.
Right.
That's like Adam and Eve when they were put in a garden, in the Eden garden. They were afraid because of unfamiliar surrounding environment. Okay, so when they did some and you know, no guidance, no like we are free to roam around in that area, in that environment, and we make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Okay, see, this is the thing. This is the thing. How can how we got lost, so-called, if we got lost, okay, is that if God continued communicating with us, we wouldn't be lost.
Right.
If we continue to give us guidance, you know.
Well, remember this. When we were doing the unconditional love challenge, it forced you to look from God's eyes on everything you see, including people, including situations. And as soon as you get out of that unconditional love thinking, now separation comes in, because remember this. Here's the question. Where is God? Everybody do this. Greater is he who is in me than he who's in the world. God is where? In me. So wherever you go, God is where? With you. But you put on the illusion that you're separate from God because of fear of the unknown of where you're being told to go, which is God telling you to go there. Remember, I always use the example where most people don't want to go down the dark hallway because it's dark and they don't want to know, they don't know what's down there. So they want God to turn the light on for them way down there so they can see, and then I'll trust God when I go down there. And it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you have to turn the corner and trust God that he's always with you and he's always providing everything that you need along your journey, along your experience. So when you look at how the soul can never be separated from God, but the body tries to make the illusion that it's separated from itself, then that's when ego creates fear. And now all of a sudden I'm afraid to do anything. But now here's the reality. As I'm afraid, what do I create? More fear. Then I create a reality fear. Now I'm fearful of this, and now I'm fearful of that. Now I'm scared of this person. Now I'm scared of that person. Now I'm scared to go in this neighborhood. Right? Did we not say every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, we give you what? Dominion over all of it. So you cannot be separated from the place that you're being sent to. Because if you go to where you're being sent to unprepared, what happens? You get lost. There's confusion. There's no clarity. Now there's judgment. Now you start judging things and judging people. This is what separation does. This is why it is so important to be spiritual and understand the nature of God and understand the ways of God and live according to God than to try to be separated from God. Does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yeah, yes.
All right. So as we start in our lesson, and it's a short lesson, as soul continues the extension of light, of pure creativity, it condenses. It descends to the next level. Again, since we're using language from the other side of the veil, there are not many other words to speak of this. The soul descends or condenses and begins to create a deeper awareness of itself as an individuated thing. This is where every last one of you have asked, why am I here? What is my life purpose? What I'm here doing? All these, you ask these questions as an individuated thing. So you begin to create a deeper consciousness of yourself, awareness. Everybody understand that? Yes, no, maybe so? If not, say so now.
Yeah, repeat that again, please.
Basically, when you go into deeper consciousness of thinking as an individuated thing or being, you're becoming more self-conscious of yourself, more self-awareness of yourself. In other words, the things you like and the things you don't like, in the simplest terms. Satisfying, not satisfying. Only you can decide what's satisfying and what's not satisfying. So you're either condensing or expanding. So when you're condensing, doesn't it feel like your body's in fear? When you get fearful, it feels what? Your body feels tight, doesn't it? Whole body tenses up when you get into fear or unbelief or anxiety. If you get anxious, you begin to breathe heavy and fast. That's another form of fear. So you're still creating awareness of yourself. Does that make sense? Yes, no?
Yes.
Now, it's awareness of self as spirit is taking on a new coloration, a new vibration. Y'all remember we did the that meditation last Monday in the evening? I had you guys and we did that meditation, and I said, you remember how that felt? That coloration and that vibration from that meditation is the awareness of spirit. When you got the goosebumps, that was you being aware of self in the spirit. Does that make sense? It's becoming very close to what many of you have experienced in your own meditation and prayer, or the time you heard a child cry, or you walked through the forest at dawn when your egoic mind was temporarily transcended. You had a sense of your oneness with God. In other words, when you wake up early in the morning and there's that peace and quiet, and you're peace and quiet, you feel that oneness with God. You feel that connection with the Creator. Does that make sense?
People always say that was the time where your ego has not actually come into action yet.
That's actually true. That's actually true. And when people get in fear, they put emphasis on the ego all the time.
Yes.
So they're not in the oneness with God. So in other words, they'll wake up in this very quiet, very peaceful dew on the grass and freshness in the air, and they'll wake up and complain about the day and not enjoy the oneness with God. I just woke up this morning. Let me be thankful for that. But somebody didn't wake up today.
Pastor,
Yes.
you can you put speak closer or something, because sometimes I hear you, sometimes I don't. The
Okay.
voice is
Is
not-
this good right here? Is that better?
Yeah.
But you have to say something, not standing just near.
All right. So, and yet, still felt other than God, creator and creator, son and father, united somehow different. In other words, when separation comes in, people feel separated from God. Does that make sense? In other words, they don't feel worthy, they don't feel protected, they don't feel loved, they don't feel any of these things, they feel divided. Okay? And you can tell by their actions and their attitude. You can tell by their behavior. Just their conversation and their vibration they emit alone will tell you their connection with God, or their disconnect or the illusion that they have from God. Does that make sense?
Okay, usually I would think that those kind of people are very self-centered, so they only speak, so they have no connection, about love. They just think about their benefits. Right? So previously I would think that they are just very selfish. I didn't think that they are disconnected with God.
And the ego produces a selfish attitude. The ego produces a narcissist attitude. The ego will put up, I'm better than you attitude, or I'm above you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And they assume that they like to use the word should. You should give it to me.
Right.
I deserve this. I should have it my way. And we'll go like, no.
Right. Entitlement.
Yeah.
You know, here's the real thing. I'm glad you brought that up. The reason why people do that is because, again, they've created separation from you. In other words, you should do everything for me to make me feel good about myself.
Correct.
And if people like that had it their way, they would send you a text and say, okay, Lily, I'm going to meet you at 1 o'clock and you have to behave just like this. If not, I'm not accountable for my actions toward you.
Yeah.
And that's how they want things to go. And it's not like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's only because they have a very low perception about themselves. They're dealing with things within themselves that they have not healed from.
So, Pastor, if there's such a case, we cannot have that meeting because we will not come together.
Absolutely, you can't have that meeting because you're brought together so that you can influence them to raise their vibration. You're the vessel that God comes through to influence them. That's why you encounter those type of people. So that way, when they start saying, oh, well, you should give this to me because I deserve this, and you should do this because my way is the right way. You're there to do two things. One, learn about yourself, right? And how to be in a neutral place and still see them in love unconditionally, and to show them a different way. It's not always your way or my way. There's no way. It's an experience that we're having, but people like that want to control you. All about control.
So what I did was I actually had this case during the week where you say practice unconditional love. And so when this this parent said that she should be, this, that. And I said, okay. So before I reply her, I sent her a lot of love. And later when I text her, I said, okay, of course your decision is right.
Mm-hmm.
You have the right to make your own decision. So what you decided right now is, of course, in the best that you can make for your child. I understand. I will return you your check, you know. And she just replied, okay, thank you. So it kind of solved the thing. So I don't have to deal with her anymore because she's not coming.
Absolutely. And the thing is, you ended what you need to learn from her and vice versa. So now there's no more need.
Yeah.
And you showed her the better aspect of yourself by showing her love instead of blah, 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 and you suck and take your rotten check and we didn't want your rotten kid here anyway or something. Well, sometimes people get very nasty when there's a separation or a breakup or an ending of the contract. If you just said, hey, you know what, thank you, we bless you, great experience, we learned, you learned, it just didn't work, that's life.
Yeah, that's right.
And you showed her the best aspect. And people, to answer Melissa's question, that's how you influence others into being more loving and more caring and more compassionate. They have to see it in you, they have to see it in me, they have to see it in you in order to know what love looks like, even know what love feels like. That's why those people are in your path, so they can get that vibration. Each time you walk in a room, you can feel the tension or the peace of that room, right? You can get that and you feel. So when you're drawn to that vibration and you think, oh, that's a bad vibration, no. You can hear them and you can learn not to judge them or criticize them or condemn them. Does that make sense? So, make sense? Yes?
Yes.
All right. So here is where the separation can be said to have occurred. For it is here in the first level of pure potentiality of this unique thought that which intelligence is, that which love is, that which light is. This was taught to you in the very beginning of the first lesson, the way of the heart concerning A Course in Miracles as mine. This is at the very, 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 very beginning of page 1 when we talked about miracles and how miracles worked. Okay, this is where that lesson comes from. And not merely in prattling that goes in the human brain that you refer to as thinking. Mind is much vaster than that. We always say this: your spirit leads, your mind follows, and your body obeys. Remember? So this is your indicator. It is here in the first level of subtle perception of the self as an individuated matrix of awareness that has awareness of itself, and yet that self or God is somehow something different than what the soul perceives itself to be. In other words, everybody perceives themselves as something different other than God. Right? We all thought that at one point.
I know.
Right?
Yes.
Here is where the first unique thought of separation is born. It's a very subtle point, long before the planets of your universe arose, long before multidimensionality of creation came. Here you are. Here there is the one soul, a unique expression of the one spirit, itself the unique expression of the one God who eternally is. Here creativity gives rise to the power of thought. So when you're creating in the 5 steps, this gives it rise. The creativity gives rise to that thought. Where it's dangerous because you have to be careful of your thought, because you can create in a negative or you can create in a positive way. Did everybody catch that?
Yeah.
It's creating. Sometimes you create in a negative way, and it's power with that. You create in a positive way, and there's power in that. So it works the same way. So you have to be mindful of your thoughts. It is from the field of thought, pure thought, that creation will now begin to spring immediately into being. Thoughts become things. Remember that. Thoughts become things. This is where, in a nutshell, the 5 steps occur. Okay? We always use the beverage, so we'll use the beverage again. Here at this subtle separate form from the body of the beverage, and for a moment, for just a moment, there's pure joy, because it is still the one doing it out of entertainment, out of pure play, out of sheer exuberance of extending yourself into infinite power, ceaselessly and without limitation. For you see, if God, who becomes you, held the thought, I certainly can't separate myself from myself, that would be a limitation. We always tell you that you are what? Ceaseless, unlimited creators full of power. So if there was a thought of separation, wouldn't that be limitation? Yes, Pastor.
Yeah.
Yes, Pastor.
Yes.
God has no limitations. Period.
No limit.
God, all things are what? Possible. When then you become that possibility, now you begin to move those obstacles of thought out of your way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mhm.
So the one creates a drop of itself along with the perception, and it perceives itself as separate from something that is now, for the first time, other. Here is germination, the seed planted for the egoic consciousness. That's still is located with people. As that first thought of separation is dreamt, a new energy is birthed. When people create separation, people don't realize that is energy, that is power they're emitting. I'm separating myself from you and everything else. No creativity. So there can be no, when 2 or 3 are coming in together in the name, it cannot be that, because one thinks himself separate. And here's where a great example, and this is, I mean no offense to any church or any religion or any Christian or their believing, but this is how, especially in the States, amongst Christians goes something like this. Hey, Sudi, how you doing? Hey, Pastor, how you doing? Hey, what's your religion? Oh, I'm Buddhist. Oh, I'm a Christian. Now I can't talk to you because your religion is wrong. Can't talk to you because my religion is wrong. Now there's separation. Now there's no coming together because of a perception of a thought. We are separate because of what? A believing. But if Pastor get hit by a bus, boom, will Sudi come help me? Or would he say, nope, you're still a Christian, I can't mess with you. in front of that bus. You see my point?
Yeah.
So people,
I think your Buddhist friend is going to tell you that's your karma.
hey, that's your time to go. You know? But in reality, he would come help me because of love.
Yes.
He's not going to say, I don't care what your religion or your denomination or your background is or your color or your height or your... What? I'm not going to say that. I'm coming to your aid because I need help because I got hit. Simple as that. But a lot of people draw that line of separation, and now because of that entitlement on the building, there can be no communication because there's a judgment now. In other words, they try to make their religion more valuable than the other person's religion or believing. So now there can be no unity because of the perception of the mind. So our job is to show them, hey, this is what unconditional love looked like, because you don't know what love looked like, even though you say you love me, but now you say you love me, but now there's a title above my name that now you can't really love me because of the title or the perception. Okay? That which has been pure joy has been pure freedom, pure safety, now changes form slightly. A drop of beverage within the drop of beverage seems to separate and take on its own energy. That being called fear. Fear is born, not extension, but contraction. When you get fearful, everything contracts. When we say that, your prayers stop. Your manifestations stop. Your desires stop. Everything stops. Nothing moves. This is why people go, where's my prayer? My prayer didn't get answered yet. Because they get in fear and nothing moves in fear. That is the law of the universe. That is the law of God. Period. There's no way around that law. Not going to happen. So, this is why we say, you know, you've been possessed by acons or acons because you feel it in your nervous system. They attach to your nervous system and you feel it within the body. That's why when you see people who are in fear, their hands shake, their voices quaky. You ever notice that? People get nervous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ask somebody to go do a public speaking in front of 100,000 people. After I can't. They're nervous. I can't, I'm not prepared. I don't speak well. I don't know. I can't, and all these excuses will start coming up. That is a form of separation. That is the contraction that we're talking about. And this is where fear emerges in the awareness. Because now you're thinking about it. So now one fearful thought has another conjoining fearful thought, which has another conjoining fearful thought. Now you have a chain of fearful thoughts, and now you're going to get a creation of that fearful thought. That becomes reality. Now all that energy and all that power you as God has put out has to follow through with that until that energy dies off, or you focus elsewhere. Okay? This is what we talk about in page 186. Now the river begins to cascade very, very quickly out of fear, out of the first inception of the thought, I am alone. I am separate from my creator. Yet in reality, it is the creator perceiving the creator and creating the perception that God is separate from God. With that thought, an explosion occurs, very like what your scientists have called the Big Bang. They don't know how very close they are. They merely need to make the shift of seeing that the Big Bang occurred in consciousness itself, not out of pure matter. In the Big Bang of consciousness, suddenly imagine that drop of beverage exploding into space, which becomes into being with the thought of separation and become an infinite array or a number of points, little droplets of beverages, little drops of consciousness, little sparks of divinity, little particles of light. That's what you are. To use yet another analogy from your realm of science, the wave of light has now become particles of light. When and why, who can say? Only that one who is doing the birthing of itself knows, and you're that one. Say, I'm the one. I'm the one. As these particles of light are now spread out through infinite reaches, of the spiritual that is spirit, which is light, which is God, each particle possesses the exact same potential. There is no difference between Lily and Pastor, period. There is no difference between Pastor and Sudi, period. There is no difference between Anson and Pastor. We are one. We are all part of that droplets and sparks of light. Everybody get that?
Mm.
Watch this. Here's a good example. In fact, you cannot find any difference between the points of light whatsoever, none. If you were to measure them, they would measure the same size, although they have no size. If you measured their frequency or vibration, they would all be same identical points of light, the same to have now taken existence in different points of space. For example, there are 10 trillion fractals of every one of you in every dimension of eternity in the now. So there's 10 trillion fractals of Lily, 10 trillion fractals of Sudi, okay? There is a sense that while there is identical in quality and substance, there is a slight difference in the space that each one occupies. As though you took two identical pencils and put one on the left side of the table and the one on the right side. Still made of the same substance, but now in the vast continuum of space, that which is identical is occupying 2 points of space, each with a perfect freedom mirroring the perfect freedom of the one God. Does everybody get that? Make sense? Yes, no?
Yes.
All right. Infinite rays of light now mirroring and reflecting the perfection of the freedom of pure potentiality, which the light itself, the pure potentiality, starts to create. Okay? And within that thought, here comes the recognition and the perception of separation. Because of that, fear comes in. Fear has been birthed, and with it, the thoughts, I'm alone, and I'm not that point of light over there. I am just myself. As the energy of fear continues, the contraction, the condensation, and the tension continues. Now, what has burst forth instantaneously, this is not yet requiring time, is the multitude, the infinitude, the multidimensionality, which is creation, except the physical universe has not yet been birthed. The physical universe requires the concept of time. For only time does physical dimension exist. Everybody get that? Here's where you find what you've been called in your language the hierarchy of angelic beings of angelic worlds. They are points of light just like you, but not in the experience of time, nor in the condensation that you would call physical bodies, not even the lower astral bodies. Still, this multi-dimensional creativity is a radiant dance with just a tinge of a sense of separation or otherness or fear. Anybody got questions, comments, concerns about that?
This fear actually comes from our own mind.
Yep.
So God did not create fear.
We create fear.
Oh, okay. Is it the same as guilt feeling? Because religious like to make you feel guilty.
Yep. It's the same fear. Guilt is to control you into feeling unworthy or to control you into doing something you don't want to do or something you've done toward another in judgment.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the guilt does. Guilt brings grief because now there's a judgment there. And out of that judgment, most people say, well, there's a sin. If there's a sin, there's a hell. So now I got to put you in a hell because now you sinned against me.
But Pastor, guilt is also because we have conscience. Every human being has conscience.
Say free conscience.
So when we do something wrong, we feel guilty.
Right, but that's your own consciousness. So this is where forgiveness is so powerful. Remember we taught on forgiveness?
Yes.
When you begin to forgive, not just for another, but for yourself, then you get out of guilt. But if you don't forgive yourself of thinking wrongdoing of another, then you stay in guilt of another. And now, because of that guilt, there's a judgment, and now there's a separation. And because of that separation, now there's not a unity of the two souls coming together to create something joyful and beautiful and creative.
Okay.
So everything comes from the thought. That's why we always emphasize, take no thoughts. Because if you take that thought, you're going to have to follow that thought, and that thought is going to become a manifestation of what you're thinking. So if you think fear, everything becomes fearful. So now, Pastor, I'm afraid of flying. No, you're afraid of dying. Fear equals death, bottom line. I don't care what the fear is. I'm afraid of spiders. Why? Oh, because they're going to bite me. And what happens if they bite you? Oh, it's going to get venomous, and I'm going to get an infection. It's going to get a rash, and it's going to swell up, and it's going to stop my heart, and I'm going to stop breathing. I'm going to die. Fear is death.
Yeah. So actually, I've seen people who are reading the news, and then they are very worried about what's happening out there. So they will hide at home.
Yep.
So I was telling them that I don't think that's how the world is, because unless you're negative. So maybe this person, when he went out, he did get into trouble.
Right.
Because he keep thinking about all these negative things, right?
I tell people, once you start learning this teaching, and we don't tell you what to do, but we encourage you, don't look at the news, because what's positive on the news?
Nothing.
Nothing.
We tell you turn off the TV. We tell you turn off the tell lies to your vision, called the TV. Tell lies to your vision, because that's what it does. We tell you to turn off the news, turn off the radio. Because all these things are there to flood and influence you into fear and negativity. When 9/11 happened, the whole country went into fear, and we're still fearful to this day. Try to go into the airports, look what happens. Not that it's not necessary, but look at the fear that was created out of that one incident. Look at every other fear that happens from these incidents now. All the shootings that are happening, people are fearful to go out. They're afraid to go to the grocery store, and now people are trying to tote guns and learn martial arts and all this stuff for these things of fear. Law of attraction says if I start thinking about that stuff, then guess what's going to happen? It's going to happen. But if I admit love to every place I go and say, you know what? I'm an influence of love, and I stay in the love because I come into this day in God, with God, for God, and by God, and I live this day in God, with God, by God, and for God, and I close this day in God, with God, for God, and by God, and I decree what I want this day. And guess what? If that's my time to go, that's my time to go. Nothing can stop that time from going. We all got an entrance, we all got an exit. Some people just like dramatic exits. Some people like subtle exits. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you understand the soul is more important than the body, trust in the powers above, and when things go wrong, try to understand the reason. When you're being tried by tribulation, try and see the object of the test.
Okay, so this is the thing, Pastor. Sometimes we do not know.
What don't you know?
Why is the test for?
So you can learn to stay more in love and how to change your perception of what you're experiencing.
Yeah, I guess right now, that whatever comes into the sphere, the good, the bad ones, because we focus, the good ones, we usually welcome it. The bad ones, we don't.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I give love to that.
Absolutely.
But however, we do not know, sometimes we do not know immediately what is it for.
Correct. And this is where we say, do what? Go in a place of neutrality. First of all, identify what you're feeling in your body that's uncomfortable to you.
Yes.
Once you identify what you don't like, then the simplest way is to start saying, can I change this thought? And if I can change this thought, when can I change the thought? Bless you. Now, how? shift my focus upon something else? How do I shift myself on something when things are going wrong, Pastor? My body's hurting physically and the pain is overwhelming. How do I shift my mind to something positive? You know what I'm saying? And this is always the constant battle of being in the place of neutrality. So you know what? Regardless of all that's going on, I'm going to stay what? In love. Because love never what? Fails. So love will conquer everything that we're talking about, including all the fear and all the separation. But the thing is, people don't practice love. You know why? Because they have love in a singular form. And then when the love doesn't go that way, then they fall out of love. Or they don't feel love. So everybody has their own definition of what love is. That makes sense?
Yes.
So when trouble happens, do what? Be happy in it. It's only temporary. Be happy in the trouble. It's only temporary. Only way trouble lasts long is if you keep picking the trouble up and carrying it with you. You're the only one in your own mind that can carry the trouble. You're the only one in your mind that can put the trouble down. You're the only one who can say, I'm afraid of the dark. And you're the only one who can say, you know what? I'm a big boy now. I don't need the light bulb. Right? So it's the power of your thoughts. And once you affirm who you are in God, with God, for God, and by God, what do you attract? In God, with God, for God, and by God. What do I attract? More of that.
We attract the same type.
And it takes time. Remember this. We always use the example. If I take a seed and plant it in the ground and cover it up and give it some water, does the seed grow right then and there? No. You got to give it time to grow. You don't start shouting, grow! Where are you? Hurry up! The sun's been up. I watered you. You should have fruit by now. In 3 minutes.
I know. It takes so long to grow.
But when it grows and you get the fruit of that sweet manifestation, isn't it good when you eat it?
No, Pastor, but the problem is now the modern world, we have so many instant gratification, instant noodles, instant messages, etc., etc. Now we expect things to be just like, I wish for it, I want it right now.
Right, right. And when it doesn't happen, nobody gets in the belief, nobody trusts God, nobody trusts anything.
Yes.
It's not instantaneous. So now what they begin to create is more of what they're not wanting. So the law of attraction says it's like saying, I want more money, but money don't come to me. That's
I would think that money will come, but it's just always too late.
but it's always on time when it do come.
No. I used to think that, I need it yesterday. What are you waiting for? It's about time to drop one bag,
Watch this. Why does it delay? It delays because you get in the way of step 2. Step 2 is God's job. Let him do the work. When it stops, people get in fear and God can't work. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
I know. We keep figuring out the ways how to get quick money, right? And God is saying, wait, you're messing me up. Wait.
But here's the thing. You can speed the process up.
How?
Once you get good at this and you are a constant flow of unconditional love and there's no fear and no judgment, now you begin to manifest what you're decreeing because there's no doubt in your mind that what you're asking for, you're going to get.
Okay, Pastor.
If I said I give everybody a 30-day challenge to create $11.5 million, how many think they could do it in 30 days?
Come on, quick. Answer.
Seriously.
Answer.
No wonder 11.5 million.
Put their hands up because they're thinking it's too big of a number. My job only pays X amount of hours and blah, 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 blah. And I don't have the resources. All these excuses will come up other than, how can we get it done in 30 days? That should be the only question.
That's why I say, don't do the numbers. God has more numbers, more digits than us.
It's just a number, but the people put the bigness on the number and the lack of perception on their value. In other words, I'm not worthy to receive 11.5 million. It's a perception. Why should I have it? I got to go work. And then people start calculating, I got to work how many jobs to make that much money? All these thoughts and all these things.
10 lifetimes.
All these things, all these walls and all these piles of why you can't get the 11.5 million because you think the number's too big.
Nah.
But if I said 30 days, we're going to decree $100, everybody's hand will go up.
Oh, 30 minutes.
Easy. But watch this. What makes one different than the other?
The value.
Your perception on the value.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the logical mind running the numbers.
If I take $1 and I add a couple of zeros to it, that $1 going to become $1 billion after a while if I start believing it.
Okay, Pastor, how to take out the logical mind in this equation?
Don't be logical.
Just don't think.
Faith don't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't think because God does not go by logic.
Everything that watch this, all the testimonies that everybody has given and every experience that every one of you have given, there's been no logic to it. You cannot explain the logic. Not one of you can explain the miracles that have happened in your lives.
Yesterday I received a text message from one of our ex-employee. And can you imagine he was quoting something that I said in year 2002?
Yep.
And I was thinking like, I don't think I speak much to him, but he said he remember that we did this for him, we did this with him, and then he was very happy, blah, 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 blah. I was telling Melissa, I said, what's going on? And she said, well, I guess you planted the seed and now he's come back to tell you that the seed has grown.
That's the truth. All those years, and he remembered those words, rehearsed those words, lived those words, confident enough to say, I'm going to send Lily a text.
Now then he's confident to send you a text.
Courageous. Now I'm bold. In other words, because I was an ex-employee, I want peace, whatever that means, on my end, whatever that means. So now I use your words to confirm that I listened to what you were saying when I was there, and you were a great influence to me. But now you're seeing the fruit of that manifestation. Well, that's the web of relationship that we always talk about, remember?
Mm-hmm.
You don't always see the big picture, and you don't need to see the big picture. Enjoy the life experience of going through the motion of it. In other words, stop and smell the roses from time to time. Look at the clouds and bless the clouds and thank the blue skies and the sun. If it's 110 degrees and it's super hot, say thank you.
Oh, Pastor, I experienced a lot of that sauna experience in Palm Springs.
And don't complain about turning the air conditioner on and running up your utilities.
No. There's no air conditioning in that house, not yet.
But you're not living in the house, so who cares?
So when I'm there, I just have my fan and I'm thinking myself in a sauna.
That's only temporary.
Okay, Pastor, this is the thing, okay? All right, I practice. This time I really practice. I did my work, like I put my advertisement and everything, you know, I pass out flyers and everything, okay? And I don't think anything negative, all right? Because every day I'm practicing positivity.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked that this weekend that I should that I want just one offer, okay? Same
That's the asking price. That's all I asked. Okay, so yesterday people came to the house that look around. One person stayed some this guy said that, oh, he just bought a home 8 months ago in a different in another neighborhood, you know, and I mean, this neighborhood is not the best neighborhood, but he said that in 2 years this house will worth 600,000, you know, that kind of thing. So he was saying that, oh, what about if I put 100,000 down payment? What will be my payment like? So I told him, oh, your payment is going to be this much. So he left. Okay, he left. So I was thinking, okay, look, I cannot stop myself from thinking that I distributed this message, this event, and I reached out to 5,000 something people, Pastor, based on a Facebook, okay? And I distributed hundreds of flyers. Is it hard to just get one?
Well, your prayers were answered. Think about this. It was answered because your last event, nobody came. This event, you had people come. Somebody stayed and made an offer. You told him the price. He got scared of the price and left. Prayer answered. Universe, make me an offer. How much is this house? Too much. I'm leaving. Prayer answered.
Oh, so what will be my asking now?
Same thing. Keep planting, keep planting, keep planting, 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 planting. Think about how you went from nothing to now few people come in to one asking the price of the payment. Where on the last event, you didn't have that. You did the exact same thing.
So,
The energy of the seed is being planted, so now they're slowly coming in. One is inquiring about a payment. He might come back. He might not ever come back. But he asked for an offer of how much the payment is going to be. Prayer answer.
Okay. So is there a way where we can show, I think, as long as there's improvement in the situation, you still have to say that you're grateful or you appreciate that there's improvement.
Yes.
Yeah, you know the time required and everybody is working on it.
Yep, that is true.
And you get what you want. That's it.
That's master teacher has spoken. I need to say
because everything, remember Pastor Meekins always say it's the timing, but we don't understand, but we want the time.
Right.
But the universe maybe needs time. The time is not right yet.
It's
It
coming.
doesn't mean it's not showing, but it's improving.
Hey, Melissa.
Yes.
Say, it's on the way.
Yes. I said that because Lily asked me how's the open house and all that.
Say, it's on the way.
Yeah, it's on the way.
Say it like you mean it. It's on the way.
On the way.
Yeah. So maybe later when you go to the house, you say, I know it's on the way.
It's on the way.
Send me the buyers.
See? You're
Scream at the house.
Huh?
Scream at the house.
Scream at the house. Bless the house. Talk to the house.
Every day I've been doing it, and then
And you
I've
see
been doing it every day. So that is no doubt about that. And today, and angels start to talk now. Angels say, oh, we are surrounded with love by the angels, the archangel. Now the archangel came out to the picture.
Yeah.
So
You know the biggest angel is yourself.
Yep.
You are there. So I don't know. Later when you go there, can you be create something? I don't know, play some music that you like and then dance around for 5 minutes.
Exactly. But Melissa, you're on the right track, and Lily said it best. Just be appreciative of what has occurred and just continue to be appreciative of what will occur. Yes, he said it best to summarize all of it. That is our time, gods. Is there any questions, comments, concerns for me?
No.
Have my friend close us in prayer. Is that okay?
Okay.
My dear friend, he's going to close us in prayer, okay?
Let us pray. Our Father, our God, we thank you for the words of been shared. We thank you for the benefit that you have given us. And we thank you for the imposing that you give us, Lord, to seek light and understand. One of the greatest assets we have, Lord, is fear. Fear for one another, fear for this and that. So through your grace and your mercy, things will work out all right. So as we go our separate ways this week, please let us understand the light and let us walk in the light of you. Let all things be done in decency and order. It's our prayer. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you much. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.